Hi everybody, my name is Sarah Beth, and today I just finished reading Super Sad True Love Story by Gary Shteyngart. This was written in 2010 and is about 330 pages long. It's an extremely quick read and it keeps you enthralled every second of it. I think this is the best book I've read this year. It's my favorite as of thus far, that is. It's a dystopian novel, and I would say that you could pretty much place it in our current times. It's very much centered around what happens when the world becomes overtaken by social media and imagery, and when selling culture kind of pervades our everyday life. And I think that the true strength of this book comes within its human connection between Lenny and his main love interest, Eunice. Lenny, I would say, is our main protagonist, and he writes these beautiful diary entries on how he sees the world. And then you also have Eunice's entries, and hers are depicted with text messages and emails and social media. And I think that there's a lot to be said with how it's actually formatted within the book. You have Lenny's text, which is essentially written in Times New Roman, slightly larger font. And then you have Eunice, which is, a rounder font, something more like Arial. And it's very contemporary. You look at their writing styles and you see, Lenny's flowery language, and he's very much, a romantic. And all he wants to do is be loved, and he doesn't want to die. And he just wants to make everything meaningful because he's so scared that he won't be able to last long enough for it to matter. He works in a company that is meant to help people prolong their life if they have the money, which he doesn't. And his goal is to save up enough money so that he can not die. He's very much afraid of becoming his parents and having to submit to the same fears that they did in the old country of Russia. And then you have Eunice, who is a 24-year-old young girl versus Lenny, who's about 39. And she writes these vulgar passages that are kind of, indicative of how she's feeling towards the world and how it's kind of shunned her for being, mediocre, but she's trying to make the best of it. She's very much angry at the circumstances that have brought her to where she is in life and the kind of trauma that she's had to deal with. And she can't seem to decide whether it's worth moving on or sticking to your morals. I think that Lenny, I think in any other context, you would look at this, a 39-year-old versus a 20-year-old, and it tends to be more on the unappealing side for a love story. You think that, he's taking advantage of her. But really in this story, it's so complex, their kind of interactions, and you see that this is how actual people would interact with one another. There isn't just, one side to a relationship. There isn't just this one way to go about loving someone. There isn't just, I would say, there's more complexity to it. There's more complexity to life. And I love that this story depicts that. You look at Lenny, who's just this hopeless romantic, but yet he still succumbs to the same thing that most men do, which is, the want to be with a younger woman because you want what's shiny and new. And then you have Eunice, who just wants to feel safety because she has been abused in her, early life by her father. So she very much has this yearning to be safe, and Lenny kind of provides that with her. Before that, she was seeking out different company of men who really made her feel uncomfortable with herself. And Lenny just kind of puts her up on this pedestal so that she doesn't really have to worry about not being loved. And she just can, in a way, fix him and show his flaws before himself so that, she says, you're not good enough for me, as opposed to him seeing that maybe she's not all that she could be. Because in all reality, she's not exactly more beautiful or more special than any other girl during this age, especially during an age of media and image, and essentially seeing that there's so many beautiful young girls. They're a dime a dozen. What does she have to bring forth? Is she particularly smart? No. And it shows on the book she's not a genius. Is she particularly beautiful? No, once again. And so you look at her and you look at all that she has to offer. And it may not be the best of what is there, in the world, but she's just ready to be loved as a human and be protected. And I think that Lenny could provide that for her. And you do see that throughout the novel, that he genuinely tries to do everything, and he's just so devoted for her, and he's so forthgiving in his, true emotions, which most people during this time aren't. They view books as something disgusting or gross. And because of his reading habits, you were led to believe that Lenny is able to kind of delve into what he thinks life is about. And he's really able to ruminate over all these different philosophies, and he sees the world in a different way from what it currently is. He wants it to be what it was, but he also wants the technological advancements. So he doesn't really want to move forward in the technology realm, but at the same time, he wants to be basically graced with the abundance of, wealth and knowledge that this age brings. I think that I don't really have much bad to say about this book. I'm not sure exactly what I would equate it to, other than, in a way, Brave New World. I would say that it definitely has that darker dystopian tone, but it's definitely less on the sci-fi realm and more of, I would guess a war-torn country kind of vibes. But at the same time, it's in a more realistic sense. It doesn't exactly show true atrocities. It's more of what somebody in a, I guess, upper class position might be able to experience, and how, they're able to keep themselves safe but still see what's going on to those that are deemed not fit to live by, the current society. They're not really contributing. So I would say this is definitely a recommendation for me. I hope you enjoyed my review, and have a good day.